Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsacharnoramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. So we are studying the Bhagavad Gita, and we are on the 13th chapter. We have barely begun, but people are getting the impression that we are sort of stuck there because we are on the second verse. But it's so very important, especially from a non-dual perspective. Let's just chant the first two verses, and then we'll catch up on where we are and go forward from there. You can chant after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Idam Shariram Kaunteya, Idam Shariram Kaunteya, Kshetram Ityabhidhiyate, Kshetram Ityabhidhiyate, Etadyo Vettitam Prahu, Etadyo Vettitam Prahu, kṣhetra-jñaṁ iti tadvidaha, kṣhetra-jñaṁ iti tadvidaha, kṣhetra-jñaṁ chāpi mām viddhi, kṣhetra-jñaṁ chāpi mām viddhi, sarva-kṣhetreṣhu bhārata, sarva-kṣhetreṣhu bhārata, kṣhetra-kṣhetrajñayor jñānaṁ, kṣhetra-kṣhetrajñayor jñānaṁ, yatta-jñānaṁ mataṁ mama, yatta-jñānaṁ mataṁ mama. What we were doing was that we were taking a close look at Shankaracharya's commentary on these two verses. Adi Shankaracharya has written an extensive, profound, deep commentary on these two verses, especially the second verse. The second verse goes on for several pages, very densely and closely argued commentary. So we're looking at part of that. Because to do the whole of it would take maybe 20 classes. But I propose to do some more of that today. And then we'll proceed to the next verse in the next class. But today we will continue with the story. What's the story so far? Sri Krishna says at the beginning of the 13th chapter, he makes a division. He says, whatever you know is, call it the field. Whatever we know, whatever we experience, you call it the field. And you, the knower, the one who is experiencing, call yourself the knower of the field. So we have two, the field and the knower of the field. Here also he makes a specific thing that he says, whatever we know is the field, that's true, but specifically the body is the field. In the first verse, Krishna has said, the body, call the body the field. And the knower of the body, call that one the knower of the field. Why is he doing this? The goal is self-knowledge. The goal is self-knowledge. That the world is something separate from me, it's an object, that's very clear to all of us. We don't think, I am the table or I am the clock. I know the clock, but I'm not the table or the clock. But when it comes to the body, the trouble starts. Because I say, yes, I know the body, but we also say or think or believe, and certainly we act as if we were the body. So that's why specifically, though the whole world is your field, the body is specifically mentioned by Krishna. The body is the field. It's called, labeled, designated the field. And you, the one who experiences that body from within, you are the knower of the field. What point is he making? What's the teaching here? The knower is different from the known. The seer is different from the seen. Drashta and drishya in Sanskrit, the seer and the seen. Subject and object are different. What you know is different from what you are. So, if I know the table, by know I means I see the table, or I touch the table, or I hear it. Therefore, it's an object. And I'm clearly not the table. So the knower is different from the known. This is the point he's making. But using this, great discovery is made. If we are clear that I am not the knower, I am not the known. The known is, I am the knower. And the knower and the known are different. Clearly the body is the known. So the body is known, you can see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, this body. In that case, the body being the known, it should be called the field. And I am the knower of the field. I must be different from the body. This is the first dramatic insight we get. I cannot literally be this skin and these bones and this flesh and blood and hair. I cannot literally be this. It's close to me. It's intimate to me. I'm implicated in it somehow. I'm embodied in this somehow. But I am not it. And it is not me. First dramatic insight. But you go further. It becomes even more startling. My thoughts, they're also known to me. After all, I can know my own thoughts. I can introspect. When I'm aware, when I'm happy, I know the happy thoughts. I was walking in the park and there was these little babies and they were the nannies and they were singing a song. If you are happy and you know it, clap your hands. I thought that's so deeply philosophical. That's the 13th chapter. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. That if you are happy and you know it, you clap your hands. Yes, because a very amazing thing is being shown there. If you are happy and you know it, if you know it, very interesting. If you know it, then you are not happy. You are the knower of happiness. Then you must be different from the happiness. If you are, I don't want to be different from happiness. No, you do. You really do. Trust me. You want to be different from happiness. But that also makes you different from sadness. If you are sad and you know it, don't cry. Because then it's an object. If you know it, it's an object. It's the field, and you are the knower of the field. You are the knower of sadness, hence you are not sad. You are the knower of happiness, hence you are not happy. You are not afflicted by these passing clouds. You're like the vast blue sky, not afflicted by dark clouds or white clouds. They become and go. But the sky is not affected thereby. Because you are the knower and that is the known. They are different. Great, second great insight. You are not even the mind, not the passing emotions in the mind, which come and go, no matter how powerful those emotions are, how true they seem. The first thing you must note is, I am not that. I was there before this feeling, this terrible feeling came to me, I was there before that. And one day, one time, that feeling will go away very soon actually. And I'll still be there. And I'm the same one before the feeling and after the feeling. Therefore, I'm the same one during the feeling also. When there's no feeling of sadness, you can't say I am sad. That's silly. I don't feel sad, but I'm very sad. What does that mean? So, you were not sad before the feeling of sadness came. You're not sad when the feeling of sadness is gone. Therefore, you're not sad when the feeling of sadness is there. You are the knower of the feeling of sadness in the mind. And the memories, and the ideas, and the opinions, and the grudges, and the resentments, and the fears, and the anxieties. You know all of them. You experience all of them. Therefore, you are not them. You are the knower. You are the witness of all of these. So you are not the body, not the mind. All of this Krishna says by saying, see, that thing is the field and you are the knower of the field. The body and the mind are the field and you are the knower of the field. Hence, free of the body-mind even when you are in that body-mind. They are not stuck to you. Then you are the knower of the field. You are the witness. This is called drashta, sakshi, chaitanya, the witness consciousness. And he's saying you are that already. You don't have to become the witness. Many people think it's a spiritual practice. I have to be the witness. I'll sit quietly and witness everything. That's a good practice. But what Krishna is saying, whether you choose to or you do not choose to, you are choicelessly the witness. Only thing that you can do then what is he saying here? What's the outcome? Only thing you can do is note it, know it. It's a teaching of knowledge. Not of doing something. If I sit quietly and breathe calmly and watch my mind, that's a good practice. You're doing something. But you did not become the knower of the field by doing it. You're already the knower of the field. Krishna is telling you, you are already the knower of the field no matter what you do. You cannot be otherwise. You're choicelessly awareness. All right. Then, the next verse, Krishna gives another bombshell. How many knowers of the field? How many fields are there? If a body is the field, how many fields? Billions. There are 100 here. There are millions outside. There are billions around the world. Not just human bodies. Why just human bodies? All living bodies are the field. In that, there is a knower of the field. So how many knowers of the field? Billions. That's our first answer. Krishna says, no. Ksetra-ṅ chāpi viddhi sarva-kṣhetreṣhu bhārata. O Arjuna, in all fields, in all these fields, billions of fields, I am the one consciousness. See the continuity of teaching. In the 11th chapter, Arjuna had this remarkable vision. The entire world united in one being, Vishwarupa Darshana. This is the philosophical investigation of that. Know me to be the one consciousness in all beings. But just a minute. I am the conscious knower of the field. And you're saying you are the knower of the field, then I and you are the same? Yes. So that is the Vedantic idea of God. The Aham Brahmasmi, or Tattvamasi, that thou art, or I am Brahman. Then what about the world? So one more point. First, he made a distinction between the body and you. You're the witness, and the mind and the body are the field. You're the knower of the field. Next, he said, there is only one knower of the field. There are many, many fields, but there is only one knower of the field. One consciousness. But then that still leaves many minds, many bodies, mountains and sky and earth and oceans and, the big and the small, this entire physical universe. What about that? So that is also nothing but you. It is that one consciousness, in Vedanta says, through Maya, it appears as its own object. A very profound teaching. So what have we got so far? Let me summarize it. This is what Krishna taught Arjuna. You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are the witness consciousness, the knower of the field. There is only one, this is first teaching. Second teaching, there is only one witness consciousness. And that is what Vedanta calls God. But you and God are the same reality, that one witness consciousness. And the entire universe is non-different. That one witness consciousness projects itself as its own object. In Krishna's language, it is the knower of the field who appears as the field. He has not said that anywhere. Later on he'll talk about it. But it's the knower of the field who appears as the field and then knows it. A good way of understanding this sounds very complicated, but we experience it every day. You know when? Dreams. Everything that you know in the dream is the field. But when you wake up and say, everything I knew, everybody I knew, everything that happened in the dream was I, the dreamer. My mind alone, it appeared as the dream. So none of it is different from me. It can't survive without me. I can survive without the dream. But the dream cannot survive without me. The universe is entirely dependent for its existence and illumination. I'm translating from the Sanskrit. Spurti satta, or satta prakasha. For its existence and for its illumination. Just as every entity in the dream is dependent on you, the dreamer, for its existence, so-called existence, and for its illumination. Illumination means experienceability. On you. Similarly, the claim by Krishna is right here in this waking world seems to be so real and different from you. It's not different from you. You are the one consciousness in all beings, and this entire thing which you are experiencing, the object, is your own projection. Vivekananda put it this way. The self alone is all that exists. And all that exists is a projection of the self. This one self in all beings is what Vedanta calls God. Okay. This is what Krishna said. Now, Shankaracharya starts his commentary. He says, this is really knowledge. the truths about the world and the individual and God. The triangle, Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. Jagat, universe. Jiva, you. And God, the God of religion. That's where religion stops. That world is there, nobody denies it. You are there, you can't deny yourself. The Descartian, cogito ergo sum, the one thing that cannot be denied is I exist. And on top of that, religion adds that there is a God. So these three. Vedanta goes further. It says, it doesn't deny God. But what it says is, God, world and you are ultimately one reality. There is a ground. The ground of God and the ground of the world and the ground of yourself are one and the same ground. I'm paraphrasing Meister Eckhart, the German mystic, who said, the ground of my soul, the ground of God and the ground of my soul are the one and the same ground. Ground means the reality, the foundational reality. The moment I said foundational reality, I can visualize my Madhyamaka teachers raising an eyebrow, both eyebrows, Nagarjuna. They're anti-foundationalists. There's no founding reality according to them. Anyway, that's a different subject. Now, the opponent comes up with immediately, it says that 4 questions. We have done all this. I'm just recapitulating. 4 questions. One is that if you are saying God and the individual are the same reality, and Krishna said that, kṣhetra-jñaṁ chāpi mataṁ viddhi, know the knower of the field in all the fields to be me. That means all the sentient beings in all these bodies are none other than God. But if you are equating God with sentient beings, jivas, then what happens? It says that then Ishvara, God becomes a jiva. Okay, so what's wrong with that? Everything is wrong with it, because the whole idea of God is beyond our imperfections. God is not a mere mortal creature like us. You're pulling down God to not God. Or the other way around. You're saying there is no jiva at all, because the jivas are none other than God. All sentient beings are God, you're saying. And what that happen? What will lead to, what will be the consequence? Samsara bhava. There will not be any samsara anymore. If you are all God, if you are God, where is samsara for you? You are free of samsara. So, yeah, that's good, isn't it? We want to be free of samsara. First of all, just by saying it, one doesn't, because there is an obvious fact that we have samsara. How can you say, if I am God, then I shouldn't have samsara? I shouldn't have troubles. I shouldn't be born. I shouldn't die. I shouldn't suffer. Clearly, I do. I am born and I suffer and I die. So I can't be God. But you are saying that there are no jivas, only God exists, or all jivas are one with God. Then the third problem will be shastra anarthakyam. All the scriptures become meaningless then. If you are God, if the sentient being is God, why teach religion to God? What's the point of religion? If the whole idea of Vedanta or all other Hindu, Buddhist, Jain philosophies are to free you from the cycle of birth and death, well, obviously that means there is somebody going through the cycle of birth and death. There is some jiva, sentient being who's suffering, but you're denying it. It's meaningless. Religion becomes meaningless then. And then the final objection, sarva pramana virodha, perception, inference, all of those. We are seeing a world. In the immortal words of our president, come on, man. We are seeing a world. How can you say there is no world? How can you say there is no world? We are seeing it. You infer, by inference, by perception, the world is proved. You cannot deny that there is a world. So these are the 4 objections. Ishvara will become the jiva, or jiva will become Ishvara, there will be no samsara, the shastras, the religion becomes meaningless, and perception, our direct experience in the world exists. And Shankara's answer to all of this was, na jnana jñānayor anyattvena upapatte. All of this becomes reasonable, that you are Brahman, the world is an appearance, becomes reasonable when you understand the difference between knowledge and ignorance. Between knowledge and ignorance, everything will make sense. How so? The difference between God and the individual, the existence of the world, all of this, in the state of ignorance, it is admitted. When you realize the truth that you are Brahman, then only that there is only one underlying reality becomes clear. Otherwise not. And therefore the relevance of the scriptures. As long as we do not realize we are Brahman, we don't realize this oneness, this non-duality, samsara exists for us. We are suffering through. That's why we feel we are suffering through samsara. And as long as we feel we are suffering through samsara, we do not know the ultimate reality, then all the teachings of Vedanta become relevant for us. All right. Now, Shankaracharya proceeds to give several quotations from the Upanishads in support of the fact that knowledge reveals the reality which is already pre-existing. You are Brahman, that is revealed by knowledge. And ignorance hides the reality, makes you feel like individual separated, individual beings, sentient beings, and causes samsara. And in the Upanishads, many times, again and again, you find quotations to support the fact that knowledge is praised. Knowledge leads to liberation and it takes you beyond suffering. Ignorance is condemned. Ignorance leads us to see difference and plunges us into samsara, into birth and death, into this ceaseless pursuit of satisfying our desires, which never succeeds and drives us from lifetime to lifetime. Vivekananda's words, "Thine only is the hand that holds the rope that drags thee on." So he gives a number of examples there, a number of quotations from the Upanishads, from the Gita. Then he gives an argument, if you remember. He says, it is also seen in common sense, in day-to-day life, people who know the existence of an open well or the snake there or of kusha grass, sharp grass. Those who know of it, they avoid these dangers. But those who are ignorant, they fall into the well or they're bitten by the snake or they cut their hands on the fingers on the grass. So therefore, what's the point? The point is, look at the unique power of knowledge. Knowledge delivers you from suffering. Knowledge saves you from suffering. Knowledge leads you to gives you knowledge of your limitless self and attains fulfillment. You attain fulfillment, overcome suffering through knowledge. Through ignorance, we veil, as it were, our real nature and we are plunged into suffering. Then what happens? The question arises, how does this work? So if I am Brahman, if I am limitless existence, consciousness, bliss, why do I feel this way? Then Shankaracharya gives the example of Sthanu Purusha, a tree stump. Those who have remember last class, you will recall. A tree stump in the distance. This is a classic example in Sanskrit literature. A tree stump in the distance, in the horizon, in sort of dim light from a distance, looks like a man standing there. Imagine a tree stump with two branches and twigs, looks like two hands in the distance. So Sthanu means unmoving, a tree stump or something is mistaken for Purusha. Purusha means a human being. Now what happens there? Because of our inability to distinguish, because we do not know, first of all, it's a tree stump. And then we make a mistake thinking it's a human being. What do? Because of our inability to know what it is, that it's a tree stump, inability to distinguish between a human being and a tree stump, we superimpose. This is a Sanskrit word, a very important philosophical word in Vedanta called adhyasa, superimposition. We superimpose, which means we make a mistake. The qualities of the tree stump on the human being and the qualities of a human being on the tree stump. What are the qualities of a human being? Of having feet and hands and so on and so forth. Like this is a nice person or my friend. The metaphor goes on further that it's the cops see a robber there, or the thief is scared of cops, so they see a policeman there. Oh, there's a policeman. I can see his hands, with the hands raised and so on. And you are attributing the qualities, the characteristics of a human being on a tree stump, mistakenly. And the other way around, you are attributing a tree stump's characteristics to a human being. What's a tree stump's characteristic? Literally, sthanu means unmoving, stationary. But the human being is not stationary. You're attributing it to that imaginary human being whom you're seeing there. So this mutual mixing up of qualities. What's happening here is, the principle is, the object and the subject are different, as Krishna said. The field and the knower of the field are different. Therefore, and this is an important therefore, The qualities of the field remain in the field. They do not belong to the knower of the field. And the qualities of the knower of the field remain in the knower of the field. They do not belong to the field. Sounds pretty abstract. What do you mean? It's something very useful for us. I mentioned it earlier as one sadhu who said, "Jo jahan ki cheez hai Mahatma ji, usko wahin rehne do." What is Vedanta? What practical application of Vedanta? Whatever belongs to, keep things in their place. What are the characteristics of the body? It ages. Let it stay in the body. I don't age. What are the characteristics of the body? It gets sick. Sickness is in the body. Fine. I don't get sick. What are we doing? Body ages, and I say, I am going older. The body becomes sick. I am sick. No. If you first of all distinguish yourself from the body, and then distinguish yourself, remove the qualities of the body which were superimposed upon yourself, put it in the body. It's like what we have done, we have looked at the table. The table is brown, and it's very clear. The brown color belongs to the table. It doesn't belong to me because I am not a table. But suppose I were to mix myself, somehow I thought I was a table, then I am a table and therefore I am brown. Or I am a flower, therefore I am pink. No, you are not a flower first, and the pinkness belongs to the flower. I can show you, in fact, whoever did put this cup of water did me a favor actually. I'll use a demonstration. Yeah. So water is transparent, you see? Right? The moment I put this behind the water, does it look a little white? Now the whiteness belongs to the cup, not to the transparent water. But the moment I bring the cup near the water, it seems to transfer its quality of whiteness into the water. If I were to bring it near the pink flower, you will see it seems to transfer the quality of being pink. The water begins to appear pink. Does it? Let me see. Oh yes, it does. Special effects. It appears pink. And now you see it will appear green. Yes, it appears green. But the water is colorless. Now what Vedanta, this is called upadhi. Upadhi is a term which is what it means in Sanskrit. I'll tell you and translate. Samipe sthitva swiyan gunan adhatte iti upadhi, which in proximity it appears to transfer its qualities onto the other entity. The cup in proximity to the transparent glass of water appears to transfer its white quality, white color to the water. The flower, upadhi, in proximity to the transparent water appears to transmit its pink color into the water. Now, the important thing to notice is, even while it looks white, the water is not white. Even while it looks pink, the water is not pink. It's because of this mutual transference of qualities. So what is this relevance to Vedanta? What is happening is this. We as pure, limitless awareness, in us arises this body-mind. Because of proximity, this body-mind transfers its quality as it were into me, the pure, untouched sky of consciousness. I am not young or old, but the body is definitely young or old. So I feel I am young or I am old. I am consciousness, limitless consciousness cannot be skinny or obese. The body can be obese. I am obese. What happened? Transfer. And did it really transfer? No. Did the water become white or did the water become pink? No. Even while it looked pink, even while I think I am old or young or skinny or obese, it's the body. Put the things back into the body. Put the pink color back into the flower. Put the white color back into the cup. Put it means understand it's in the cup, even when the water looks white or pink. Similarly, even when you feel old or young, you feel happy or sad, sukha dukkha, or deluded. It's so subtle, these applications. I've understood Advaita Vedanta, Maharaj, but when I go into the world, the fact that I'm witness consciousness slips away and I feel very entangled with the world. What's happening? The world and the body and the mind and people and the reactions in the mind, they're all like the pink of the flower. In the flower, they're all in the mind. But because they're appearing in you, the colorless consciousness, the absolutely transparent, spacious, sky-like consciousness which you are, they're appearing there. They seem to be colored by unhappiness, restlessness, anxiety, fear. They all are like the pink color or the white color or the green color. They belong to the upadhi, to the mind, not to you. So this transference is happening, just like the stump and the person, sthanu purusha. Okay. Then next what happens? The opponent comes and says, no, it won't work. Nice try, Shankara, but you're pulling a fast one on us. What's the problem? The opponent says, so I'm quoting from the commentary. Who's the opponent? It can be any one of a whole range of philosophical schools. Sometimes they are materialists, sometimes they are Buddhists, sometimes they are the Nyaya logicians, sometimes they are dualists, qualified monists, many schools. Na atulyatvat iti chet. No, what you just explained is not correct. Why? These examples you're using, they don't work. They don't work. Why not? All these, so many examples you brought out, they're wrong. Just hold it there. I'm not going to give you an easy pass on this. Why are they wrong? The opponent, this is not the Shankara, this is not the non-dualist, this is the opponent saying. The opponent says, Sthanu purusho gyeyo eva santo gyatra anyasmin adhyasto avidyaya dehatmanastu gyeya gyatroreva itaretara adhyasa iti na samadrishtantaha. Says, look, when you said the tree stump and the human being, this glass cup of water and the white color of the cup. The cup and the glass of the cup of this water and the cup, they are objects, both of them. Huh? They are not like body, mind and consciousness. Body, mind, you said, are the field, they are objects, and consciousness is the knower of the field. You said, Krishna said himself. Two objects, both belonging to the field. You can mix them up. They're getting mixed up. And the flower and the cup of water. The flower is an object. It belongs to the field. That's a good one. Flowers belong to the field, yes. But that means object, an object of awareness. The cup of water is also an object of awareness. Two objects are getting mixed up and their qualities are getting mixed up. But here, you're pulling a fast one on us, Shankar. I won't let you do that. Here you are saying objects like body, mind are getting mixed up with the subject. You're saying the field, body, mind is getting mixed up with the knower of the field. These two examples are not, the example and what you're trying to show by the example are not the same case. Are not the same case. You must understand the force of the objection. You are saying the field is being superimposed on the knower of the field. The characteristics of the field are being superimposed on the knower of the field. But the examples you are giving are both, or they all belong to the field. They are all objects. Water is an object, cup is an object, the tree stump and the human being, they are both objects to you there. They are getting mixed up. But you're not saying that things there are getting superimposed on me, the witness consciousness. These two are strictly separate cases because Krishna just said they are separate. They're field and knower of the field. Your examples don't work. This is what the objection is. Yes, makes sense. That's the beauty of it. These commentaries, if you listen carefully to the objections, each time if you really understand the objection, you feel, right, non-dualism is wrong. This is clearly and then you really enjoy Shankara's response. What is Shankara's response? He says, so first of all, what's your proposal then, the opponent's proposal? What is the opponent trying to say? Ataha deha dharma gyeyo api gyatur atmana bhavati iti chet. He says, so, though the characteristics of the body, they are characteristics of the body, but they still belong to the self. It's not like white color and transparent water. Color of the cup is the cup's color. White color is the cup's color. It remains in the cup. And the water is transparent. But that will not work for the body and consciousness. Yes, old age, disease, unhappiness, misery, happiness, these are characteristics of the field. But they belong to the knower of the field. They belong to the knower of the field. This is the proposal of the opponent. If you look a little more deeply, it's a reasonable proposal. Because after all, then what can belong to the knower of the field? Because everything else is the field. And what do you mean anything belongs to me? This is what belonging means. Something is there in the field and this belongs to me. That's what it means. So that's what he's saying. Yes, the body is there. It's the field. The body gets old. So I am getting old. It's reasonable to say that. There is unhappiness in the mind. Yes, I understand. Krishna said mind is the field. But unhappiness in the mind belongs to me, the knower of the field. I am unhappy. This is the proposal. Shankara's response. Na achaitanyadi prasangat. Nope. Because of the contingency of insentiency. What does it mean? It says, all right, so if it belongs to me, something in the field belongs to me, the field knower. That's what you're saying? What is the field? The mind is the field. And what is there in the field? Unhappiness. Now you're saying unhappiness belongs to me, I am unhappy. That's what you're saying? The opponent says, yes. It's obvious, we all experience it. Then Shankara says, but the field has other characteristics. Field is insentient. It's not conscious. It's an object, right? It's an object. It has no consciousness. I am conscious. Then that insentiency of the field, that inertness of the field, jadatva of the field, will also belong to me. I will become not conscious. But we all are conscious, obviously. The fact that we are knower, that means we are conscious. We are the experiencer. Do you see the argument? You're saying some things of the field belong to me. Why not the other things? The field is not conscious. Mind is not conscious. It's an object. Then that the non-consciousness, insentiency, the jadatva in Sanskrit, it should belong to me. The mind is ever-changing. The ever-changing nature of the mind, that should also belong to me then. I should be ever-changing. Mind is arising, thoughts in the mind and feelings are arising and disappearing. So I should also arise and disappear. But that's not happening. So your logic doesn't work.
The I you mentioned is the knower.
Knower. So the I should become the non-knower then, because the thought in the mind is not a knower. I know the thought. If I think ABCD, I am aware of ABCD. Is ABCD aware of me, Sarvapriyananda? No. Is ABCD aware of another thought, EFGH? No. Is ABCD aware of itself, that I am ABCD? No. It's just a thought. It's like mental chatter. I am the knower. Now, if the characteristics of the known of ABCD should belong to me, it's not a knower. Then I should also not become a not knower. I should become non-conscious. But it doesn't happen. So it says, that's the first objection, powerful objection. Then the character achaitanya, non-consciousness, insentiency should also come to me, but it is not coming. Then he goes on further. Yadi hi gyasya dehadi kshetrasya dharmaha sukha dukkha moha ichchadayah gyatu bhavanti tarhi gyasya kshetrasya dharma kechana atmana bhavanti avidyadhyarupita jara maranadayastu na bhavanti iti vishesha hetu vaktavyaha. This is a chess move. What does it mean? He says, so you are saying, that is the thrust of the opponent, that so when unhappiness comes in the mind, it's reasonable to say, I am unhappy. Don't say it's a property of the mind and the unhappiness is in the mind. That's what the Vedantin wants to say. He says, no, I am unhappy. Unhappiness has come in. Dukkha. Sukha. Happiness has come in the mind, so I am happy. Then Shankara's reply is, but you, and these logicians and others, they are also religious people. Don't you believe that there is samsara? Yes, of course. That's what we're trying to deny. You are the one who's upsetting the apple cart. So there's samsara, and you are religious people. You're trying to get moksha, liberation from samsara. So there are multiple lifetimes. You're going around birth and death. Yes, that's what we say. That's the story. In that case, if you're born and you're dying, then you can't be the body. Birth and death belong to the body, not to you. And so body is born and body is dying. And you all of these opponents, they're all religious people, whether they're Buddhists or Nayayikas, whoever. They admit that there is samsara. They admit that we take up bodies die, then the soul goes on to another life and then takes another body. In that case, old age, disease, death belong to the body, not to the soul. You all admit it. So, some properties belong to the field, not to the knower of the field. And you are saying some properties of the field belong to the knower of the field. Vishesha hetu vaktavya. Tell me why. Tell me why. Old age of the body belongs to the body and not to the soul. Soul does not get old. Disease and death belong to the body and not to the soul. Soul does not get COVID. Soul does not die. All of you, all religions say soul is immortal. These dualists, they say soul is immortal. Good. I agree with you. But then you are saying misery and sorrow and unhappiness and delusion belong to the soul. Why? They are also part of the field, according to the definition. Anything known is part of the field. Vishesha hetu, you are making a distinction. Give me the reason for this distinction. They have none. So, he says, but I can give you a reason that they do not belong to the soul, to the Atman, to consciousness. Na bhavanti iti asti anumanam. There is reasoning which will prove that the characteristics of the field do not belong to the knower of the field. It's the same logic that we have seen so far. Avidya adhyaropitatvat jara maranadivat iti. He says, because they are superimposed on the knower of the field, on consciousness, because of ignorance, they are superimposed. I do not see the distinction between myself and the body. Therefore, the characteristics of the body I take upon myself. Body gets old, I feel I am getting old. I do not see because of my ignorance, I do not see the distinction between me, the consciousness, and the mind. Therefore, the sorrow in the mind I take upon myself by mistake. By this upadhi. And then he is mischievous. Just like old age and death, which you all agree. People say, I am getting old, I am going to die. And you all say that's an error. You all say that, right? But you dualists. You say, actually, yeah, you don't die. You will go on to another life. You all agree with that? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Just go one step further and say even sorrow and unhappiness and anxiety and fear and pleasure and pain, all of them belong to the mind, not to you, the witness consciousness. Not to the knower of the field. They belong to the field. The moment you distinguish subject and object, knower and the knower of the field, consciousness and objects, then the properties of objects should stay with the objects. Thoroughly purge yourself, the witness, of the properties of objects. It's a mistake. Then, what is the result of this kind of analysis? Tatra evam sati. I'm skipping a little bit here and there. If anybody is following the actual commentary, a little bit I'm here and there, I'm skipping. Tatra evam sati. This being the case, kartritva bhoktritva lakshana samsaraha gyastaha gyatari avidyaya dhyarupita iti natena gyato kinchid dushyati. He says, then all of samsara, which is characterized by agency and experiencership, kartritva, doership. I do karma. How does that happen? It's because I think I am the body, I am the mind, I am the thinker of thoughts, I am the speaker of words, I am the doer of acts. So I am the one who's doing karma. This is called karta, doer. But actually pure consciousness does not do anything. It's the witness of everything. Is the sky stormy? No. Is the sky windy? No. It's the atmosphere. But the sky gives space for the atmosphere to be stormy or windy. Sky is not affected thereby at all. You, the consciousness, you enable the mind and the body to come up and do its thing. But they all belong to the mind and body, not to you ever. So he says, this samsara, they belong to the field, not to you, the knower of the field. Samsara is part of the field, not to you, the knower of the field. Adhyarupitaha. They are superimposed as if they are appearing in you. Just like white color appears in the transparent water, pink color appears in the transparent water. Water is not white or pink. Feelings, emotions, experiences, memories, the sense of doership and the sense of enjoyership, or I'll coin the word sufferership. I enjoy or suffer. Enjoy the results of good karma and suffer the results of bad karma. No, you do not. Because of you, the luminous awareness, there seems to be an imposed enjoyership upon you or imposed sufferership upon you. But in neither case, you're like water is not pink or white. You are not enjoying or you're not suffering. You are enabling the enjoying to happen. You're enabling the suffering to happen because of your presence. Even more plain. Natena gyato kinchit dushyati. Nothing of you is ever harmed or polluted or distorted or broken because of samsara. You means consciousness, knower of the field. Yatha bale adhyarupitena akashasya talamalinatvadina. Just as children, unthinking, ignorant, they superimpose surface or dirt to the sky. So child looking up at the bright blue sky will think it's like an vast inverted bowl. It sees a surface. There's no surface there. Or it sees the sky has become dirty. Sometimes kids say that. The sky has become dirty. Sky doesn't become dirty. It just looks like that. Maybe because of dust or clouds or mist or something. It doesn't become dirty. It's superimposed. Because of the presence of the dust, because of the presence of mist, the child thinks the sky has become dirty. Similarly, because of the presence of samsara, we think we are suffering, we are going to hell, we are going to, or enjoying, we are going to heaven, or we are enjoying, we are doing really great in this world. Story time. I've told this earlier, but it's an appropriate time to tell the story. So there was a great sage, Shukadeva. It's one of those Puranic stories, but it shows the result of this knowledge. Once he comes to the great god Shiva, Mahadeva, and comes and, he's very casual, doesn't bow down the respect you have to give to Shiva. He starts chatting with Shiva. Shiva also chats with him. Now Parvati, the great goddess, we just came out of Navaratri, so she becomes annoyed. After the sage has left, she tells Shiva that boy needs to learn manners. He's become haughty like a camel, walks around with his nose high in the air. Then Shiva, of course, knows that he's innocent. Said, no, he should show you proper respect. You are the god of the universe. I'll teach him respect. So she goes to the sage Shukadeva and says, be thou a camel. Now, the Divine Mother is in charge of the universe. Whatever she wants, names and forms. What is Shiva? Existence awareness. And everything else in this universe, all names and forms and activities is the Divine Mother, Shakti. So she says, you give up this sage name and form and you become a camel. And immediately was transformed into a camel. Then she happily went back to her divine abode. After some time, she's the mother, so she felt bad. And she was saying to Shiva, I wonder how that boy is doing. I mean, he must be suffering. He was such a great sage. Now he's a camel. Shiva knew that after some time, her annoyance will go away. After all, she has a tender heart. So she says, why don't you go and take a look? So she goes. And she says, she sees this camel chewing on thorny bushes. And says, well, how are things going with you? And camel can, of course, speak in perfect Sanskrit. So the sage who was the camel, replied, wonderful. I suddenly became a camel. I do not know why, but things are really good now. What do you mean things are really good? Well, when I was a sage, I had all these silly brahmacharis to teach. I had to teach them Vedanta. Now I don't have to teach anybody. I'm so free. And I go wherever I like. I eat whatever I like. I don't have to follow the rules of the monastery and the ashram. I'm carefree now. The original Hindi version which I heard it was much more crude. He said, basically it said, I pee wherever I like. The Divine Mother said, oh, this was not the intended result. And in exasperation, she said, okay, be a sage again. And so he immediately became a sage. He shrugged, okay. Now, the names and forms, camel name and form, or a human name and form, none of them have any impact on the one who knows I am limitless awareness. It's just a story to show that. So, not a slightest bit will you be affected by the change of you, the consciousness, the knower of the field. Changes in the field do not affect the knower of the field. This is the point. Shankaracharya uses this again and again. He has said in another place, he goes on to say that all the water in a mirage cannot wet a single grain of sand of the desert. In the desert there's a mirage. It looks like water where there's no water. Now all the water in that looks like an oasis shining with water, glittering with water. But if you go there, there's not even a single drop of water there. One grain of sand of that desert will not be wetted by the water. So all the sufferings of the world, all the ups and downs of life leave you completely unscathed. Remember, they will not stop. It's not escapism. By knowing this thing, you will not be delivered from the results of past karma. They will keep on appearing as our life, what we call our life. But you'll be, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, attaining which nothing greater remains to be attained. Centered in which the greatest of sorrows cannot shake you. Yang labdva na chaparam labham manyate tato adhikam. Yasmin stito na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. Settled in which the heaviest of sorrows cannot shake you. That means sorrows will come. Even in the lives of saints, old age will come, disease will come. Sri Ramakrishna got cancer, throat cancer, but it cannot shake you. Once, Swami Turiyananda, in his old age, many diseases were there in the body, in Benares, in the Sevashram there. Somebody asked him about his suffering. And he says, why do you see, in Bengal, he said, Baire Rog Jala, the burning and the disease externally. Why do you see the external burning and the disease? Bhetorta borof hoye ache. Do you not see? You do not see. Internally, I am all, it's like ice inside. It's like ice inside. You become, like ice inside means you're completely untouched by the external. I mentioned a few days back in some context, Swami Shivananda. He was second president of our order, afflicted by asthmatic attack, and the whole night he had suffered. Next in the morning he was very calm, and then people asked him what happened. The other monks in the morning they came, and the old Swami said, at night it felt my breath was going away. I couldn't breathe. Everything seemed stopped. Had no comfort lying down or sitting up. Asthmatic patients, you have to make them sit up to support with a pillow. Nothing was giving me comfort. So finally I despaired of life itself. So I sat in meditation. Up to that point, any asthmatic patient will agree. The next part of it is different. He says, I sat in meditation and plunged into the stillness within. And slowly the external world and the body and its suffering disappeared. When I came back to this awareness of the external world, the suffering of the body had gone down a lot. If we step back, if you see the body and its suffering, flower and its pinkness, they belong together. The body and suffering belong together. I am fine. One interesting consequence is the suffering also goes down after some time. It's interesting. So, then a monk asked him, what is that you meditated? Where did you become still? He says, that's the Atman. So he says here, not the least bit you, the knower, will be affected by if you are not the field, the characteristics of the field, the sufferings which are in the field will not affect you, the knower of the field, even when they are appearing. You're almost out of time. I'll make, it goes on and on like this. One more little argument and then I'll stop and we'll take a couple of questions. An important question comes up next. The opponent, okay, two more things. The opponent says, okay, I get the point, but still, your examples are bad. They are objects. They belong to the field. So, remember, what was his original objection? You are confusing one thing which is the field with another thing which is in the field. Two objects you are confusing. But now you are using that example to say the confusion between the object and the subject. So that example does not apply here. Even though I see your logic, what you want to show. Then Shankaracharya says, let's see, 2 points here. First of all, the example is only meant, the only point of the example is to show the effect of ignorance and superimposition. Just as not knowing the difference between the pink flower and the transparent water from a distance, you might be fooled into thinking the water has become pink because of ignorance and the apparent transference of the pink color of the flower into the transparent water. Like that. All I'm trying to say here is, here also there is ignorance about our real nature as limitless consciousness and an apparent transfer of the qualities of the body, mind into consciousness. That's all. So I'm not bringing in object, subject, all those things I'm not bringing it here. Now you might say the opponent waving his hand, no, but still, it's still not a good example. Then Shankaracharya really hits back. He said, but you do it all the time. Didn't you? Again, he's pinning them down. Don't you all believe that you are really not the body, not the body, because the body dies, old age and disease, the death belong to the body, and you go on from lifetime to lifetime. You all believe that. And yet you believe that you see that people say, I'm getting old and I'm going to die or I am sick. And how do you explain that? You do the same thing, that the old age and sickness of the body, you are mistakenly taking upon yourself, the immortal soul. You're doing the same thing. Why fault me? It's the principle of debate. If I have a fault, I can't accuse anybody else of the same fault. So it's not a fault if both parties accept it. Fine. Now the opponent comes back with I promise this is the last one. I am having fun. Last argument. Though I just wanted to create a taste for Shankara's commentary. You can go further and look into it. A lot of wonderful things are there in this particular commentary. Next one is a deep one, argument. The question, the objection is, okay, let's take a step back. You are saying this is all because of ignorance. Shankara says, yes, there's some suffering and apparent transfer of qualities upon yourself and samsara and all of this is because of ignorance and it will be solved by knowledge. Yes. So you are saying that the self, Atman, pure consciousness, has ignorance. At least that much. Now if Shankara says has no ignorance, then the whole argument falls apart. And if he says it has ignorance, then you have to attribute ignorance to the Atman. The self, Atman, knower of the field, has ignorance in that case. Wouldn't you agree? And Shankara says, nope. But you just said it's all because of ignorance. And Shankara gives these arguments. First of all, Drishya. Ignorance is also known. And the ignorance also belongs to the field. After all, where is ignorance? It's in the mind, not in pure consciousness. What do you mean ignorance is known? Everybody has this experience. I do not know X, Y, Z. I do not know. We all say, I don't know. That means you are aware of your own ignorance. If you are aware of it, you are not ignorant. You are the consciousness which is illumining the ignorance in the mind. So ignorance is in the field, not in the knower of the field. 1 point. Second, ignorance, Shankaracharya says, is an error, is a defect to be corrected. And the defect is always in an instrument. So he gives the example of cataracts. What does cataracts do in the eye? The cataracts in the eye, Shankaracharya says, avaranatmaka, it veils the world. You see as if through a mist into the world. It's not very clear. Then you sometimes make actual mistakes. You don't see things which are there. You are making mistakes. And these cataracts can be cleaned. Where are the cataracts cleaned from? From you or from your eyes? Does the doctor come and start scraping consciousness or the eyeballs? The eyeballs. The cataracts are cleaned from the eyes, not from consciousness. So the instrument has to be cleansed. So similarly, ignorance is a defect, dosha. And the defect is always in the instrument. The ignorance is a defect is always the instrument. And the defect can be cleansed by knowledge. Knowledge also comes in the mind. It arises in the mind and removes the existing ignorance, and then that also disappears. Consciousness alone remains. So because it's dosha, it's a defect. Third, anitya. Ignorance is not ultimately there. The enlightened person will say, in pure consciousness, Brahman, Atman, there is no ignorance. Ignorance is not there. Therefore, it was never there in the self. It was there in one of the projections of the self, which is mind. It was there, but not in the self itself. And the self is asanga. Just like clouds may appear in the sky, dust may appear in the sky, space is not touched by clouds. So, if you go through a cloud, you'll feel clammy, and I don't know if you had experienced this. I experienced it. It's surprising. First time in India, there's places like Darjeeling, which is a hill station. I still remember my surprise as a little kid when I opened the window and a cloud entered through the window. And it passed through one window and it went off through the other window and left everything feeling slightly clammy and cold. But the cloud does not make the sky, space, clammy and cold. Similarly, consciousness is not affected in the least. Consciousness is unattached, asanga. Everything arises, is illumined, and it settles back, disappears into consciousness without in the least affecting consciousness itself. So because of these reasons, it's a defect. It's an object of experience, part of the field. It is impermanent. Ultimately, after enlightenment, there is no ignorance at all. So it can't be a part of the self. If it was part of pure consciousness, ignorance, then it would always be there. But it isn't. It comes and goes. And finally, pure consciousness is completely unaffected by the object. Just like the sky is unaffected by clouds or mist or dust. Because of these reasons, even when we say there is ignorance, it has no effect on you, the pure consciousness. It still has to be removed. So, these are some of the arguments. It goes on. One argument will come, one question will come. After all of this, much later, the opponent gets flustered and says, but if I am Brahman, then who is ignorant? Who is ignorant? And Shankara's answer is very interesting. He says, why are you asking? He says, because I am asking because I don't know. So you are ignorant. All right. Yes. Can we have the microphone? A few questions. Yes, you can bring the basket forward also. Raise your hand and he can see you and tell us your name and ask the question. Yeah.
Swamiji, I'm Anandi. By this last logic, where by removing the defect or correcting the ignorance, knowledge can come, or the defect is removed and knowledge comes?
The knowledge is generated, defect is removed, ignorance is removed, yes.
So theoretically, there could be two knowers then?
Why two knowers?
Because if the ignorance is in the mind and knowledge comes in the mind, you have a knower in the mind and you have a knower of the knowing mind. All
right. So let's not bring ignorance.
It's theoretically possible to have that.
Let's not bring ignorance and knowledge into it. But are there two knowers? If you ask us a question directly, can there be two knowers or are there two knowers?
Yes.
It appears to be so. It appears to be so. Why? I'm saying this is a very subtle and very important insight into Advaita Vedanta. Knowledge. When you say knowledge, it means two things. Vritti Jnana and Swarupa Jnana. There is a way in which we are knowers, all of us are knowers right now, using the mind and the senses. When we say, I think, I see, I hear, I smell, I touch, we are knowers. But there is another way in which we are knowers as the ever-present, non-flickering I, the consciousness, the I am. That is choicelessly, it's not an activity. See, the other knower is an activity. And this knower which says, I think, I know, I smell, I touch, I understand, I remember, I forget, I desire, I hurt, I enjoy. This one is changeable. No, here the knower is active. It uses instruments of knowledge to know objects. This is called Triputi. I, the knower, using an instrument. Eyes, I see. There is something or somebody that I see. Object of knowledge. There is an instrument of knowledge, the eyes, and there is one who is using the instrument of knowledge. I, the person, the jiva, sentient being. This is one kind of knowing. This is the most common form. I go to university and I study a course. So I borrow books and or read the handouts. That's an object of knowledge, and I'm using the senses and the mind as an instrument, and I am the knower. So that is called the vritti jnana, the knowing through the mind. Or another name is pramata, the knower, using instruments of knowledge, pramana, to know objects of knowledge. And that's the usual way we all operate. But there is also in the background always I, the ever-present awareness. Now these two are very different. The sakshi and the pramata. Sakshi, pure consciousness, witness. Pramata, knower. These two are very different. In what sense? Look at the differences. The knower, pramata, is active. It does things. It knows, it does not know, it focuses on one thing, it focuses on the other thing. It can see, hear, smell, taste, it can think, it can remember, it can understand, intellectualize, conceptualize. But the sakshi, it's only one thing, it shines. What's the relationship between these two? The relationship is, it's like the sun and the moon. Notice the moonlight. The moonlight is variable. There are phases of the moon. Full moon, and half moon, and dark, new moon day. But also notice, the moonlight is entirely dependent on the sunlight. The moonlight is nothing but the sunlight. So this pramata, the knower, the usual knower we are all acquainted with, is lit up, powered by sakshi, pure consciousness. It is the light, pure consciousness is the light which lights up the knower. By light of the lights, jyoti. The light which shining, the knower shines. In the Upanishad, that shining, everything else shines by its light. That being lit up, everything shines after it. That means sakshi, pure consciousness. In Advaitic terms, there are two terms, the lakshyartha and the vachyartha. Vachyartha is the direct meaning. When Krishna says knower of the field, the direct meaning is I, you, just right now what we are, the usual knower which we are. Lakshyartha means the implied meaning, the real meaning, pure consciousness. The pure consciousness alone you can say aham brahmasmi. This particular knower you cannot say aham brahmasmi. Particular knower there are many. 8 billion there are many. But when Krishna says I am the knower of the field in all beings, he's talking about pure consciousness. So these two are there. Now, what is Vedanta trying to do? Vedanta is first of all introducing us to our nature as pure consciousness, and then telling us to shift the reference of the I from the knower, the pramata, the direct meaning of the word knower of the field, to the implied meaning, to the sakshi, to pure consciousness. You shift. It's already available. You notice what you are. Now, a very subtle point here. If you try to do it, you'll fail. The knower, pramata, has an objective component. As part of the field is included in the knower, mind and the senses. So the way to realize yourself as sakshi is by denying your pramata nature. I am not the body, not the senses, not the mind, not the intellect, not even the ego, the knower. Then only you can say, I am the witness consciousness. Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham. I am not the mind, not the intellect, not the memory, not the ego. Chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. There's shifting from the pramata to the sakshi. Okay. The gentleman here, and then we'll come to the lady here.
I'm Abhishek.
Yes.
So the question that I have is, if the field and the knower of the field are different,
Yes.
and the knower of the field does not belong to the knower of the field.
Yes.
My body is the field.
Yes.
As a knower of the field, why should I assume the responsibility of taking care of the field? That means, why as the knower of the field, should I assume the responsibility that I need to feed the field, water the field, attend to the field and the needs of this field?
Yeah, when you come to that state of that I am the knower of the field and you're completely settled there, settled in that, then you actually won't even need it. It will continue by the wish of the Lord, as it is continuing now also. You think, I have taken responsibility for this body. Actually, I haven't. It is the Lord who has taken responsibility. Today, I have to feed myself and wash myself and take care of myself. One little stroke, land up in ICU, nothing I can do then. This particular field itself, it will not obey even the slightest command, paralyzed, full body paralysis. But it can help. Knowledge will help here. I am the witness consciousness. Identified with the mind and body, I thought I was in charge of this field and I was doing lots of things. Now it has failed me. I am still the witness consciousness. The field is appearing as a degenerating, dying field here. I am the witness consciousness, not affected. And this is something that I experienced today. One gentleman called from, I will not name, he has a degenerative disease and he is, death is coming towards the end of life, and he's being taken care of in a hospice. But the gentleman wanted to speak to me, and they put me on a video call with him. And he said, now at this stage, he can't move his body anymore. His wife is taking care of him. Elderly gentleman. He said, now at this stage, the teachings of Vedanta are most profound for me. So much peace. Swami, such strong voice. Swami, you don't know what this knowledge is to me now and to others like me. There's only this to fall back upon. I can see it's true. So you are the witness as you always were. Now just this part of the field is no longer responsive to that knower of the field. But I am the background awareness, always was, is, will continue to be. One day maybe this body very soon will die and go away. And other fields will appear before me. I am still the same knower of the field. It helps. That's a demonstration to me for somebody who at that point in great suffering, at the point of death, can say with confidence, I am fine. And this knowledge is the thing that helped me. Yes. Another time it happened, several years back, 6 or 7 years back. At that time, Skype was it used. People sometimes wanted to speak with me, and I would sort of avoid it because there are too many people wanting to speak. So this lady, she said, I want to speak with you about something, send a message. I said, okay, we'll see when sometime. And she wrote back, it was very clear, no question of seeing sometime because I'm going to die. I'm going to live within the next 2 weeks I'll be gone, so I want to speak to her. And of course I said yes. I spoke with this lady who was in a hospice, what is it called, palliative care, in Canada. And she was attended to her by her niece. And what calmness, what dignity. She's asked some questions about her spiritual life. She had practiced Vedanta and Buddhism in her life. And at the last conversation I had with her, 2-3 conversations I had, I said, I hope when my time comes I can be so calm and dignified. She laughed and she said, I'm sure you will be. See, at that point, there's no need to, she has no need to hide or to speak politely. You'll become all right, you will, she knows I'm going to die within a few days. Calm and, dignified. Next call did not come. 2-3 days later, her niece called me and said, my aunt passed away and your calls really helped her. And I'll tell you, Swami, when she passed, this room was like a meditation room. It became so still and quiet. I sat with her body for some time and it had become like that in the last few hours of her life. So this is how it helps. Yes.
Namaste, Swamiji. Thank you, first of all, for the examples that you bring to the lectures. They're very helpful.
Tell us your name.
My name is Snigdha. And the question I have is, a few lectures ago, you introduced the concept of I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. And I started to ruminate on that. And sometimes I feel I'm able to create some sort of psychological gap. and I get excited or I know excitement. And then as soon as I experience it, then I feel, oh, who is creating that psychological gap? It's probably mine. And then the whole feeling and the gap also, everything goes away.
Yes.
And this just keeps on happening. So then how do I experientially resolve this?
When that experience comes, that you feel a gap and a kind of joy, that's one step. Second, when the doubt comes, the excitement comes, and the doubt comes, note that I am free of the excitement. I am free now and will be free. The excitement has come and will go away. When the doubt comes, isn't it the mind which is doing all of this? But clearly that's also an experience. The doubt was, you were there illumining the absence of the doubt. Now the doubt has arisen, the doubt will disappear. You were there all throughout. Ask yourself, does the doubt reveal itself or you reveal the doubt? You reveal the doubt. What is the mind? That mental formulation of the doubt. Isn't it the mind? That's the part of the experience which is called mind. But the experience of it, I am experiencing doubt. By what light are you experiencing doubt? By you, the light. Shankaracharya says here itself, Yaeva tasya nirakarta tasyaiva atmasa. Whoever denies the Atman, it's the Atman of that very denier. It's because of that you are this awareness that you are able to doubt the awareness also. You are able to witness the functioning of the mind. The presence of conviction and the absence of conviction are both illumined by you, the Atman. That gives you even stronger conviction.
But how do I hold on to that?
Don't hold on. Don't hold on. I remember one of the greatest monks who I heard teaching this, Ramananda Saraswati, whom I attended some classes by him. A young monk asked him, and after a long discussion, just like this, back and forth, opponent, and he said, but aham brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am this awareness, witness, at least that much we must hold on to. And then the Swami, he with great excitement, he said, that's what you must not hold on to. As long as you hold on to that, it's a practice and something that the mind is doing. That you are snigdha. How much practice are you putting into it? I have to hold on at least to I am snigdha, little background, like the Tanpura, it must go on. Otherwise I may forget. You have no tension about forgetting that you are snigdha. You don't even think about it. Do you practice morning 1 hour I am snigdha and evening 1 hour I am snigdha? No. Earlier you say I was very confident I am snigdha, but now I am little doubting. Maybe it's the mind. But I am snigdha is something that is superimposed on you by parents or grandparents who have given you the name. It's just a concept given to you. That becomes so effortless. Imagine the witness of the mind, how effortless it is. There can be no doubt about it. Don't try to hold on to it also. Here is the clue. When you do not think of any Vedanta, when you are not even thinking, I am that witness consciousness, I am the knower of the field, I am pure consciousness, not even none of that. Mind is not doing any Vedanta at all. Mind is completely involved in whatever we are doing in the world. Ask yourself that question later. In all the time when I just last few hours had completely forgotten Vedanta, was I having experiences or not? Was I seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting? Was I enjoying suffering? By what light? That light, that's choiceless. That is not there because of Vedanta. Vedanta just reveals it. I am that. The lady here. And then the gentleman there, will stop after that.
Yeah. I'm Kiran.
Yes.
So, Kshetrajna here, as you mentioned, Pramata is the apparent knower, right? And
it's the knower, but then the witness of that is the real knower. You have to shift the reference of the I from the Pramata to the Sakshi. That does not mean the Pramata, the knower, will disappear. Of course it will be there. Even after realizing I'm pure consciousness, what will go on? Everything will go on. You will still be very happily able to see, hear, smell, taste, think, enjoy, suffer. But at a deeper level, you will see that you are not suffering. You are fine. Yes.
Yeah, so, but Sakshi or Kshetrajna is mentioned because Pramata depends on pure consciousness. That's why pure consciousness
Absolutely.
is Kshetrajna. And can we also say like kṣhetra-jñaṁ is jñānaṁ, because
Yes.
that's the only thing that self ever
Ksetra
has.
Jnanam means knowledge. So this jnanam can be understood in two ways. As this empirical knowledge, which is what the pramata is doing, as pure consciousness or witness consciousness. That's also. So the word used in Sanskrit is vritti jnana swarupa jnana. Vritti jnana is jnana, knowledge with the movements of the mind. The usual way we understand knowledge. But swarupa jnana is pure consciousness. Vivekananda said, it's not that it knows, it is knowledge. It means Atman, the self. It's not that it knows, it is knowledge itself. What do you mean knowledge itself? Consciousness, basically. Last, the gentleman there, you raised your hand. Yeah. Can you just raise your hand? He'll bring the microphone to you. Tell us your name and ask the question.
I'm Karan. We started with the distance between the knower and the known.
Yes.
And then towards the end we said ignorance of witness consciousness is the field, so it's not the knower. So wouldn't the knowledge of being witness consciousness also not be the knower?
Yes. You're right. And then you say, what good is that? Yes. What does the knowledge is also in the field. Knowledge is in the mind. Ignorance is in the mind. All knowledge is in the mind. Then what good does all this do? It points towards you, the knower, the witness consciousness. The knowledge in the mind, I am Brahman, I am pure consciousness, Chidananda Rupaham, I am the nature of pure consciousness. That's in the mind. It clears up the ignorance which has resulted in the superimposition, I am body-mind. It distinguishes the field from the knower of the field. And this distinguishing also happens in the field itself. You are the watcher of both ignorance and knowledge. But once knowledge comes, the knowledge immediately points towards you, the real nature. And then you always knew I was this. Then what is this mind? What did it do? It's like looking into a piece of wood. You see the wood, you don't see yourself. But you look into a mirror, you see yourself. You're seeing the mirror, but you're seeing yourself. That's what it did. The wood is an object. The mirror is also an object. But the mirror did something miraculous. It pointed towards you, the subject. The face. So this knowledge is like that mirror. It remains there. And you may even take away the mirror after that, but you have no more doubt, I am here, even without seeing it. You may take away the knowledge from the mind may start again thinking about the world and doing work, but you are free. You know that I am always this. I am this pure consciousness. Good. On that very subtle and high note, let's bring this to an end. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.